Scuderia Ferrari has the opportunity to fix things. In Formula One, losing the correct working point of the car is very easy, especially when a team introduces updates. The aerodynamic package introduced at the Imola circuit did not cause any problems. On the contrary, the one from Spain altered the balance of the SF-24, a car that had made predictability its strong point up until the Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit de Catalunya in Montmelò. In Austria, as we clearly saw last weekend, the load of the car was insufficient, as was the grip generated by the suspension. However, taking a step back was certainly unexpected for Ferrari's drivers, technicians, and engineers. The Maranello team that has won the most in Formula One is in trouble and could face more difficulties at the Silverstone circuit in the British Grand Prix this weekend. To address this deficit, the simulator work in recent days has been almost exhausting. The main goal? To fine-tune the SF-24 car in order to optimize performance, which theoretically is present in the car based on the data from the simulator, but for now has been lost in the maze of adjustments. In England, Ferrari arrives for the next round of the 2024 Formula One Championship with the more classic version of the rear wing. We will not see the new medium-high load specification introduced during the Barcelona weekend. The Ferrari engineers seem to have chosen to build the aerodynamic setup with a load level that is lower than optimal for the British track. This leads to some considerations. Firstly, we know that in Austria, the SF-24 single-seater had serious rear instability problems in the faster corners of the Red Bull Ring, particularly in the second half of the track. This shortfall will be addressed by making the floor work better than in Austria, so it is likely they will stiffen the suspension system. They did not use the preferable medium-high load version because, according to studies, it is considered too limiting for top speeds. The incidence of the second flap is adjustable to slightly reduce the resistance produced, but it remains ineffective in reducing drag. They need to continue working on this specification, especially since with the Imola upgrade, they thought they could make significant progress. Remember that since the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix at the Imola circuit in Italy, they have been using the same Red Bull solution for the side pod inlet, which should generate a superior outwash effect. The RB20 confirms its use of the wing already mounted in Austria, a very versatile specification that overall produces more load than the corresponding Ferrari version. Obviously, having more efficiency, the Austrian car can afford a few more load points at the cost of greater drag. The setup window of the RB20 proves to be broader once again, allowing more potential to be extracted from the car. Compared to Barcelona and Austria, McLaren opts for a less loaded wing to favor efficiency, seeking higher top speeds to have better race chances. The version we see mounted on the MCL38 car in the garage was last used at the Imola circuit, where they still managed to have sufficient downforce in the faster corners by stiffening the suspension system. Consequently, they lose out in the slower sections. But in the end, the stopwatch proved them right. The Woking team builds the setup trying to recover load from the floor, a choice very similar to Ferrari's, which also finds itself below the optimal downforce point generated for the English track. By seeking load points from the floor, a cleaner vertical push is obtained, which proportionally generates less drag. Mercedes continues with the same medium or medium-high load rear wing, depending on the adopted configuration. Successfully used in Austria, this version at Silverstone should produce the necessary downforce without significantly raising the aerodynamic drag coefficient. Mercedes undoubtedly aims to optimize speed at the end of the straights. The Brackley team, at least at this moment considering the last two races of the 2024 Formula One World Championship, overall presents a broader setup range than Ferrari. This is why they managed to maximize and optimize more areas of the track, providing their drivers with a more consistent handling level. It will still be a nice challenge for the Mercedes W15, considering the alternation of very fast sections with much slower ones. Since Formula One entered the new ground effect technical cycle, it has been important to distinguish between when a team brings updates to the track and when it starts reaping the benefits. Often the two coincide, but not always. McLaren in this respect is consistently precise. Every modification introduced to the car has immediately provided the expected results. At Ferrari, the situation is currently different. There is confidence in the updates that debuted in Barcelona, but so far the results have not been seen. At the Silverstone circuit, there will be no new developments on the two SF-24 single-seaters. The main goal is to better understand what is already on the car and to optimize the existing aerodynamic package. Charles Leclerc had explained that every time a new aerodynamic package was brought to the track, it was necessary to ensure that it was optimized as quickly as possible. Otherwise, they would fall behind while other rivals, who have clearly improved. The Monegasque driver believed that when they managed to fully exploit their package, they would make a step forward with the SF-24 car. According to him, it did not make sense to forego making progress, and it was definitely a risk worth taking. His Ferrari teammate Carlos Sainz expressed a perspective that differed slightly. He indicated a willingness to take risks, but also suggested that it might be beneficial to step back if necessary. The Spaniard commented that the new package still holds potential for further development and emphasized that, in the immediate term, their priority is to assess whether they have progressed in the right direction. This assessment, he believed, was crucial not only for evaluating their current competitiveness, but also for guiding future development strategies. Carlos Sainz noted concerns arising from their comparative performance since the Barcelona weekend, highlighting uncertainties about the package's effectiveness. Regarding discussions about bouncing among drivers, Charles Leclerc clarified that it related to how extensively they adjust the car's setup. He stressed that this issue was not newly apparent with their recent update, but rather involved strategic decisions about where to position the car. Acknowledging the performance benefits in pushing in certain directions, he underscored their ongoing efforts to refine the update for optimal performance. The Maranello team is committed to continuing development on this update to achieve maximum performance, focusing squarely on this objective. Charles Leclerc reflected on their learnings from the last race, where they experimented with two significantly different configurations and setups. He expressed hope that their recent work would enable them to better address these challenges, starting from tomorrow. Charles Leclerc's optimism was noteworthy, particularly in contrast to his previously cautious predictions about Silverstone following the Spielberg race on Sunday evening. During this period, the team engaged in simulator work on Monday in Maranello, with his Ferrari teammate taking over the following day, alongside extensive debriefs with the Maranello technicians and engineers. Charles Leclerc added that this was something they could resolve in the short term, highlighting that they already had strategic ideas about the direction they wanted to pursue. The Monegasque driver pointed out significant differences observed between the two cars in the last race, emphasizing the importance of finding that additional 0.2, as demonstrated by the impact of such a small margin at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Now the focus shifts to the upcoming weekend at the Silverstone circuit, which will mark another crucial moment for the Maranello team, as Ferrari will attempt to maximize the result in the British Grand Prix, while also collecting other valuable data to better understand the steps needed for the future.